Hello and welcome to Chuck's Diecast Car and Model Reviews. Today we are taking a look at this particular car. This is a model of the Ferrari 312 PB. This is a sports car built by Ferrari back in the early 1970s. And it's a very neat and interesting little car. This was the car that basically Ferrari made for endurance racing after the 5-liter class, which include the Ferrari 512M and S, as well as the Porsche 917, was banned. This model here is in 1/18 scale, and it is made by a manufacturer who I don't even know, and I can't tell because there is no branding on the bottom. I got this many years ago, and you know, it's a mystery to me. So anyway, I mean, it's not the best model. Honestly, it's okay, but it's definitely not considered a high-end model. But let's go back to the story of the 312 itself here. Now, I mentioned it has a 3-liter engine in it, and it is basically a development of the Ferrari 3-liter flat 12 motor that was used in the Formula One cars. From what I understand, there was very little, that was interchangeable between the two engines, and reason being is I'm sure that Ferrari did a lot of modifications to the engine to make it last longer for endurance racing. That being said, Ferrari actually never did not race it at Le Mans for the first year or so after it was first built, because they still felt the engine was too fragile to last in a 24-hour race. But in 1973, they did race this car at Le Mans, and the interesting story about it is that they ran their team ran one car as what was known as the Hare. It was designed to run as fast as possible, get the other cars to chase after it. Hopefully, some or all of them will break down, and then the slower moving Ferraris, who would conserve their engines, would be able to win the race. Ironically, all the other 312 PBs ended up not finishing the race, and the car that was the Hare did finish the race. So there you go. But regarding the model itself, it's as I said, it's kind of a cheap model. It is in a way, almost designed to be a cheap model, because the car itself is made of so many flat pieces. The rear deck is flat, the side panels are flat. It's just a wedge-shaped thing that it doesn't really take all that much to make this model in terms of design and things like that. And that's just the way they made them back then. They basically made the car to be as low and as flat and as wide as possible and as light as possible. And believe me, these things are low. I've seen a couple or three of these, and they don't even come to my waist. I think they come to about my inseam, in terms of height. But let's go ahead and take a look at this model here, okay? Now, as you can see, as I told you, there is no branding on the bottom. So, but you can see here that at least they do have the details of the engine. They are everything is chromed, which it should not be, but at least they have that detail in here. It's got, the car itself has these enormously wide tires as sports and Formula One cars of the early 70s had. The wheels, this gold color is actually not proper either. I mean, the wheels are gold, but they're not like gold chrome like this. They're painted gold, and there is definitely a difference. See, you can see that wedge shape there as you look at it from this angle, and it's neat to see how that this car was actually driven by two of the greats, Mario Andretti and Jackie Ickx, who, Ickx did win Le Mans 5 times, I believe, but not in this car. Decals on the side here are pretty decent. You can see all the branding there, Champion Sparks plugs and Coney shocks and Magneti Morelli. I'm not even sure what Britax is, or Prestolite, or whatever that is, but it's not bad. Looking at the front here, again, detail isn't bad. Any sponsorship by Heuer is cool, because I like Tag Heuer watches. Corello sponsorship, Corello makes headlights. I like how they put just basically flat sheets of plexiglass over the headlights for aerodynamics and protection. And the one thing that is sort of a concession to aerodynamics besides the wedge shape is that sort of ridge there along the wheel arches, which I guess is designed to hold in the airflow so it doesn't spill over the sides, and just aerodynamics would push the nose down or something. I guess that's the theory behind that. I don't know if it worked very well because, well, they didn't know much about aerodynamics back then. The other neat thing about this car is this rear view mirror on this giant stalk, right coming out of the deck there. It's kind of funny. And when you see one of these cars, it really does stick out. It's pretty shocking to see that thing sticking up, from this sleek looking vehicle. And taking a look at the, we'll take a look at the interior here. They put seat belts in there, and that's pretty decent. And the seats look okay, although they are very plasticky looking. You can see the roll cage. This windscreen is, very thick and out of scale. So that kind of lets things down. But you can see in here the interior, which, it's decent. I mean, you can see the steering wheel. You can see the shifter down on the right. You can see the gauges, things like that. So it's not that bad for, a relatively cheap model. And you can also see, of course, the roll cage that sticks up right here and the intake for the engine. You can also see here, of course, the two radiator intakes as well, and then a couple of NACA ducts and 2 scoops back there, which are not open, which kind of lets down the side also. So that's kind of unfortunate. Taking a look at the rear of the car, you will see, again, there is not much to this car in terms of design. It's just all very basic. You can see these grates here at the rear of the wheel wells, designed to let air pressure out of the wheel wells. You can see the taillights and the quad exhaust in the rear. of the transmission. Now, although the doors do not open, you do have an opening engine bay. And interestingly, the engine bay opens up except for this part, which is pretty odd. But you can see here again the valve covers for the engine, which is in the incorrect chrome. And then also the velocity stacks for the engine and the representation of the carburetors. The velocity stacks look weird. They look like, I don't know, tennis balls or something, because the car itself would have had hemispherical screens over the velocity stacks, I guess, to keep it from sucking in stones or something. And, instead of having actual screens, they just have these ball-shaped velocity stacks, which is kind of unfortunate looking. But for it being a cheap model, at least I have a Ferrari 312 PB. And it's kind of neat that I'm filming this today, because today is the day of Le Mans. And it is 50 years since Ferrari raced at Le Mans. And again, they have cars racing at Le Mans. And right now they are in the lead. So that's kind of a neat way to end this video. I hope you liked this video, and if so, please go ahead and click on that, like, and subscribe. Have yourself a great day.